I don't really know where a war begins. People say it's the first shot, the order, the hatred. But for me, it started with the fog. That morning it lay so thick over the fort that the world seemed to shrink to a few dozen steps. The wooden barracks emerged from the grayness like old ghosts, and the ground underfoot was cold and damp. We stood on the parade ground, silent, uneven, not yet soldiers, but no longer the boys from home. The uniform hung on me, alien. It was worn, heavy, saturated with sweat and time. I often wondered whom it belonged to before me. Did that man return home, or was he left somewhere in the earth, nameless? Every button, every stitch seemed to hold a memory. I held the musket with both hands. It was cold, hard, and unfriendly. My hands trembled, though I tried with all my might not to show it. Fear had lived inside me since the first moment I crossed the fort gates. It didn't scream. It sat silently inside and waited. Sergeant Harris appeared before the formation like a storm. His boots thumped clearly against the ground, and his voice cut the air. He yelled that this wasn't a farm or Mom's kitchen, that no one here would pity us, that we were the Army of the United States, whether we liked it or not. Most stared straight ahead. A few blinked as if trying to wake up. When he stopped in front of me, I felt something tighten in my chest. His gaze was heavy, experienced. He had seen hundreds like me. He said he saw the fear in my eyes, and I knew denying it was useless. Then he spoke the phrase that stayed with me forever. Either I would learn to control the fear, or the fear would control me. I didn't answer. I just stood there, trying not to drop the musket. The barracks that evening was filled with a silence heavier than any words. The candle on the table flickered as if sensing our thoughts. We sat on the wooden bunks, and each of us was alone, even with a dozen others nearby. I thought about home, about the smell of the earth after the rain in Ohio, about my mother who saw me off silently because there were no words left. I didn't know if I would ever see her again. Thomas sat next to me. He was a little older, with the gaze of a man who had understood a lot and was no longer trying to run from the truth. He said we would be sent south tomorrow. He said it calmly, as if talking about a long road, not a war. I confessed to him that I had never shot a man. The words were difficult. In that moment, I felt weak and exposed. Thomas was silent for a long time. Then he said that no one is born a soldier. They become one, and some never get the chance. That night I stood guard. The air was cold, and the silence seemed unnatural. The old flag fluttered above the fort. It was torn, faded, but held fast. I looked at it and wondered how many people had looked the same way, before a battle, before fear, before death. Captain Miller approached quietly. He asked where I was from. I said, Ohio. He nodded and replied that he had once been there too. His voice was calm, but weariness lived within it. He looked at the flag and said that this piece of cloth had already cost thousands of lives, and that perhaps tomorrow it would demand more. I didn't fully understand those words then. I understood later. The morning of the battle came without warning. The world exploded with noise, shots, screams, smoke. Everything merged into one endless horror. I ran, fell, got up, fired, not remembering where or why. The fear never disappeared, but it stopped controlling me. It walked beside me like a shadow. I saw Thomas on the ground. His eyes were already dim. He looked at me and whispered that I shouldn't drop the flag. There was no fear in his voice, only peace. When the color bearer fell, I saw the flag sway toward the ground. In that moment, something inside me broke and at the same time came together. I picked it up. It was heavy, wet, blood-stained, but I held it high and moved forward. I don't remember how long it lasted, minutes, an eternity. When it was all over, silence fell, deep, painful. I sat on the ground and looked at the sky. There was emptiness inside, not joy, not pride, just silence. Sergeant Harris walked up to me. His voice was calm, almost soft. He said that today I had become a soldier. I didn't reply. I looked at the flag above the fort and understood freedom never comes without pain. It always has a price, and someone always pays it first. Many years have passed, but that old foggy morning still lives within me, and when I close my eyes, I see the old flag fluttering in the wind again.